The topic today that we want to discuss is the judging someone. Many people, when you try to give them the loving advice, and some people don't give advice obviously the right way. So how can you determine, Sheikh, what's the difference between when someone is judging you and someone is giving loving advice to you?
How do you determine what's loving advice and judgmental advice? Well, number one, are you giving advice for the sake of that person's good, or are you giving advice for the sake of your own ego? Many times when we give advice, it's to make ourselves feel better, not to make the other person feel better. The Arabic word for advice is nasiha. And nasiha means to purify, and it actually means to refine something. So the stage of purification, which is the last stage of purification, which is refinement. So the Arabs used to say, nasahtul asr. It's that I refined the honey. And so the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said, ad-dinu nasiha. The religion is sincere advice. And so what that means is that nasiha, when I give sincere advice, my goal should be to purify that other person of some flaw that they have, destructive quality that they might have, or characteristic, to help them out of a situation that's not good for them. So it should be for the sake of that person. If it's for the sake of that person, that will translate into beautiful words and into good advice and into good speech. And hopefully the person recognizing as well that this is coming from a good place, that this is not coming, and it's interesting because the religion is sincere advice, and at the same time, Allah strongly, in the Quran, strongly condemned ridicule and mockery. Okay, so which is called sukhriya. And Allah said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la yaskhar qawmun min qawmin asa an yakunu khayran minhum wala nisa'un min nisa'in asa an yakunna khayran minhun. Allah says, let not one of you ridicule another group of you because they might be better than you. And let not a group of women ridicule a group of women because they might be better than them. And so the point is that if while I'm giving advice on the basis that I am better than you, and I'm telling you that I'm better than you, and I'm looking down upon you, then I'm not giving you advice. I'm ridiculing you. I'm doing something that's a major sin instead of something that the Prophet, peace be upon him, described as the entire religion, which is sincere advice for the sake of your betterment and bringing you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making things easier for you.
Has there ever been somebody that you sincerely wanted to give advice to, but you have that trepidation now that you're a little bit worried that you might break up a relationship, or you might mess up a friendship between you and someone, but you really have this need, because isn't it something that is incumbent on Muslims when you see something bad that you are to advise, that you are to invite to good, forbid evil? Have you ever been in this situation?
Absolutely. I think all of us have been in that situation. The idea is that how severe is their situation? And is it better for me to advise through words, or is it better for me to advise through example? Sometimes leading by example is much more effective than words. There are some people that are just not in a position where they can properly accept advice. The Prophet, peace be upon him, he said that the worst people in the sight of Allah are those that people avoid giving advice to, ittiqa'a fuhshi, which means out of fear of his foul mouth. There's some people that have a really bad temper, and if you try to give them advice, they're just going to flip at you. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said that you should avoid, that those are the worst people, those people that are actually avoided because of their temper. So people just leave them alone and they essentially let them destroy themselves. So the point is that again, there are some people that you avoid giving advice to because of their temper. There are some people that you avoid giving advice to because perhaps it's a minor thing that you want them to learn on their own. You're not at a point in your relationship yet where you have that level of trust where they can look to you and they can really, they see you in that advisor capacity, and so you want to sort of build that relationship a little bit more. I mean, da'wah is advice, right? So sometimes you don't give you give da'wah through your actions. You give da'wah through you invite to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your actions, through the way that you live your life and you carry yourself. But at the same time, you're not at a point in your relationship yet where you can speak to that person. And as an advisor, you need to really recognize when your advice is counterproductive. Like the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. When his father responded to him with this threat of murder and humiliation, when he just called him with very gentle words, Abraham, peace be upon him, he didn't sit there and continue to advise him. He said, peace be unto you. I will seek forgiveness for you. Okay, and that my Lord is verily a gracious Lord. He's a compassionate Lord. He celebrates my supplication. So Abraham knew, peace be upon him, that his father was not in a position to receive advice anymore.